What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Sport Exposure Podcast. As you guys know, we are here to expose sport stories, sport experiences, and really create a safe space for student athletes past, present, future. Today, we have the pleasure of having Ganon Baker, personal development trainer here. How are you?
I am. I'm great. How you doing? Thank you for having me.
I'm excited about this conversation.
I'm excited. You know, you got two alumnus here from Hampton High.
Crab of Pride.
Crab of Pride, baby. Can't crush a crab. Two former hoopers, but also a person that has some life. And you know, hearing your story, I'm very impressed with what you've done so far through your journey and basketball. So I'm more here going to learn probably more from you than I have
learn
with
from each other.
Yeah, a lot of people that have interviewed me. So thanks for having me.
For sure. So before we get into it, here at Sport Exposure, our motto is celebrating triumphs and learning from defeats. When you think about that motto, you think about your sport journey, what comes to mind?
The lessons of winning, obviously, that I've had. I take it into my life holistically. And losing, there's a lot of pain. I've learned to take to my life as well. And what it taught me is how to respond. That's the biggest thing that losing and defeats and failures through sports has taught me, is how to respond. Right, what the hell are you going to do now? And that's a huge lesson I use in my own life, not only with my players and coaches and people that I lead, but also my own kids.
For sure. I tell people all the time, you're going to go through shit regardless.
Yeah.
But it's how you respond to the things that you go through.
Yeah.
The biggest lesson.
Yeah. You're not a mistake just because you make one. And you're not a quitter unless you give up too soon. And I always try to tell myself that, because I'm human. You know, I'm in my I'm at an age now where I'm close to getting Social Security checks, so to speak. So, you know, I got to keep telling myself that, because it don't get easier.
Yeah.
And that's what training, that's what the process, that's what sports does. It teaches you how to fight, metaphorically. You know what I mean?
It does. So to get into it, where did it all start for you? Where did your love of basketball start?
Man, my dad, he was a coach at Phoebus High School, man.
Okay, Phantoms.
Yep. Phoebus's first basketball team, right?
Wow.
My dad was the coach. He coached Boo Williams, who's a legend. He coached Ricky Wilson, who's one of the reps at Jordan Brand. You should have Ricky. He played with Michael Jordan. He played in the NBA, played overseas. So it was going to practice at Phoebus High School, watching my dad, only white dude in the gym, you know. It was like The White Shadow, if you remember that show. It was about a white guy coaching an all-black inner-city team. And just the love and the care, like, you know, at an early age, I didn't see color. I saw two different humans that were bonded by basketball and the pursuit of happiness with that, and red blood. And so the way my dad coached those guys, I fell in love with basketball and the way they responded to him. And so it was there. And then I really wanted to be good. So my dad dropped me off at the Hampton Roads Boys Club on Kickitan Road in Hampton.
Okay.
And a guy named Mark Cooper. If you're watching this, man, my man, I'm gonna have dinner with him tonight. Was my mentor, taught me how to hoop. And that's where it started.
So how do we talk about the things that you went through, starting from watching your dad at Phoebus to going on your own journey of playing?
Yeah, well, he was a teacher, and he emphasized fundamentals and basics, and he emphasized teamwork. And so at an early age, I learned how to win, and that's focusing on a foundation of, all right, this is basketball. This is how you win. And winning is focusing on the fundamentals with tremendous discipline and doing it with the four other guys on the court. And the seven guys on the bench are just as important, because they play too, and they have an impact on winning. And then, you know, a lot of defensive stuff, non-sexy stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff that nobody sees, the stuff that's different. And so fast forward to my college career, I played professionally. I became a coach, and I trained some Hall of Famers and world champions. They're different. They were winners because they did stuff that other people didn't want to do. My dad taught defense, which nobody wanted to do, but he motivated those guys. And so that kind of translated into my self journey of, man, if I want to be good, I'm short. People were saying, you can't play this game, white boy. They tried to go play the white boy sports, all that. Well, I couldn't change my color. I realized later on success is colorblind and gender free. I had to have tremendous discipline at being different. And that will help me overcome some of the negativity and obstacles out there that either I created on my own or they were real, or what other people tried to label me as a slow, short, white dude that will never play Division I, never start for Hampton, go play for Hampton Christian or Bethel or Kickintan, where at that time Bethel and Kickintan weren't very good. If you get me. So watching my dad growing up watching him coach at Phoebus taught me, basics and being self-disciplined and doing things that other people weren't willing to do. And that was crucial to my philosophy, my standards.
For sure. And how did some of that negativity affect you mentally or emotionally in your grade years? How did you get through that? Because a lot of kids would go through that, and that would be a huge blockage to where they're trying to go.
Great question. I mean, I faced it at 11, getting out of my comfort zone, living in a suburb neighborhood, but like 3-minute walk across the street, I'm in the hood, and then another 5-minute walk, I'm at King Street, where there's, people smoking joints and 40 bot. Remember the 40s, St. Ives and malt liquor, people getting some fights, saw some, guns being pulled. And so it was a different environment. I was the only white guy. Choice words were thrown at me. They stole my bike. They stole my ball. They didn't respect me when I called foul. I didn't know how to confront them with conviction. I was soft. I was timid. And went to Hampton, didn't play, made the JV team only because my dad knew the coach, didn't play a lot as a sophomore, junior, was slow, was short, was soft. I call it the 5 S's: soft, silent, selfish, stupid, sensitive, shy, scared. And I overcame that because I had 2 grandparents right across the street that were former military. So they dove into my identity. They helped me with my structure. I had 2 parents at home. I got lucky. If I didn't have parents at home, who knows?
Exactly, yeah.
Maybe it would have been Mark Cooper, my parents raised me at home, but then 7-8 hours during the day, a couple of days a week, I was at the boys club, and Mark gave me tough love. Get up. I got you. Go again. You got this. No, that's not how you act. So he taught me how to be a leader. He taught me how to stand up for myself. He taught me how to use my training, to trust my training. Went home, my parents gave me the same message. So basically, how to overcome it, I had teachers and mentors to help me with my identity. And then they helped me structure my day. And I had the will to go out and keep working, keep stacking the days. As Chris Paul said, stack the workouts, 1% better, compound interest. And the work I put in presently affected my future self. And then I became instinctive to pressure, instinctive to chaos. I never, ran from pressure. I confronted it with tremendous conviction, competency, charisma. I was very clear on who I was and what I had to do, but it started with that mentorship. There was no mental health person. Coach Brower, David Blizzard, God bless him, my coaches, suck it up, man. Yeah, you just got to be tough.
Coach Brower was my guy.
Yeah, Coach Brower, man. Suck it up, man. You're going to get called out anyway. You're different. You're the token. So what you do bad is going to be, exposed. So what you do good is going to be even better because they see you out there. So you got to go out there and suck it up. I wasn't a Christian at that time, so I didn't have any meditation or prayer life or solitude or deep, all the stuff that helps people that believe in a higher power overcome stress and clarity of mind. It was a straight, I got to go out and work harder tomorrow. There was no plan B. It was me. I can, I will, I must. It was watching the Rocky movies. You know what I mean? It was listening to Public Enemy, motivating myself, LL Cool J, Run DMC, music to fire me up to go out and just kick people's ass. I always had a chip on my shoulder, something to prove. So the obstacle and the ability to fight and win, that's how I got through it. Is I always had a battle. And I didn't choose. My parents didn't let me go to an easier environment where I could win and be a paper champion.
Yeah.
No, I had to go and overcome the real. Because I have a lot of methodology, and I always say, look, the real ones expose the pretend ones. You know what I mean? And that's
Without
what people. That's what people mean. Look, if you want to be a great leader, put yourself in a room where you feel you're the least experienced or the dumbest in the room. Mm-hmm. Oh, you want to be a good player? Go to the toughest park in your city. Play against older players that are more experienced, and then you get exposed.
Yeah.
Right? Either, hey, you got to get better, or man, you're better than what you thought. You know what I mean? You get to test, because the real ones expose the pretend ones. I got that from, I had spent some time with Damian Lillard's trainer. I mentored him. He mentored me. They grew up on my videos. So I got to spend some time with those two guys. And that's where they talk about that a lot. Like the real ones exposed. I said, I like that.
So you dropping a lot of gems already.
Oh, I got tons. I'm 52 at this point in my life. I mean, I got a lot of life in me like you. I'm a philosopher. I'm a student. My parents are teachers, principals. I have a master's in education. I'm addicted to learning. I'm always looking to be better than I was yesterday. I always want to stay relevant. You know what I mean? Even though I'm older, I don't try to let the old man in. You know what I mean? And you do that by growth. Yeah. Because growth is the bridge to joy. That's what's missing with a lot of people, but not only people, that's where our game is. A lot of players have more than they've ever had, but yet you see players in the dungeon of despair than ever before. And what they have to do is they have to grow. And if they do, they'll have more joy. Because you can have joy in failure. You can have joy when you lose. Yeah. Right? Being around Kobe, hearing him for the short time I was around him, like he loved lose. He didn't want to lose, but when he did, it didn't affect his self-esteem or self-worth or his joy. He was like, all right, yeah, motherfucker. That's what I learned. Thank you. I learned. Tomorrow I'm going to be better, because learning to me is losing. Losing is learning. Oh, you hit me? I got a scar now that's going to make me tougher. I got a scar I can talk about. I can relate to. Like it's a mindset, you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm always trying to drop knowledge and not just a conversation.
Exactly. You know? And you've been around a lot of legendary players during your time frame, played against, trained them, et cetera. What would you say was a key influencing moment for you in your journey? Well, because you're soaking in knowledge from people from all angles.
Yeah. I would say my 16-year career being a player development consultant for Nike and Brand Jordan. Okay. And so rewind back to 2003, Boo Williams called me one night. I'm driving home from Virginia Beach after a training session. And he's like, hey, I got my team needs a workout at 9:30 tonight at Kick It Town. I'm like, Boo, it's 8:30, man. I'm on the bridge. I'm going home, man. I'll do it tomorrow. He's like, no, you got to do it tonight. It's like, why, man? Because he won't gonna pay me. Yeah. But I'll do it because I love it. And Boo changed my life. I'm like, why tonight? He's like, man, the Nike Scout's coming. I'm like, okay, will I get some free gear? He's like, no, man, they have a program called the Skills Academy. And, they want to get the top 24 players in the country and give them mentorship and through camps and training and in hopes that they sign with Nike in the future. So the future Kevin Durant, LeBron, all these guys that I trained came from this program. Derrick Rose, Kevin Love. I mean, just amazing. Jrue Holiday, who's still playing, DeMarcus DeRozan. So I went over there and Boo helped me give me a platform. And when you have a platform, you got to be so good they can't ignore you. So not arrogantly, but I was so good that Nike, Don Crenshaw, couldn't ignore me. And that I got the Nike job in one day, but this has been I mean, this opportunity is what I was anointed to do my entire life. So Boo Williams impacted me to show me that, you know what? When your opportunity comes, it's too late to work. So I've been preparing my whole life for that one workout that Boo gave me, because
that's all it took.
Because of who Boo is, he has weight. And because of Boo's greatness, he's allowed others to be great. And so in a nutshell, I can't say, I mean, all the athletes I've worked with Nike impacted me. I have like 15 Hall of Fame habits that I teach young kids and leaders that I learned from being around these great ones. I had it, you had it when we played, but I didn't know how to communicate or to teach it. Now being around these great ones, right? I can take myself out of a picture, out of the frame, and look at the picture of greatness as I'm teaching them, as I'm working with them. And that's the beauty of working with great athletes, is that they impact you. They don't influence you. I mean, you can get influence. Influence is temporary. Impact is eternal. Mm-hmm. So when you said influence, yeah, the bad players influence me. He was okay. And I don't want to drop any names, but respectfully, there's a difference between a J.R. Smith, who I've worked with, and a Tracy McGrady.
There is.
Right? There's a difference between, respectfully, good player, Big Baby Davis, who I've worked with, and Amari Stoudemire.
Yes.
Right? There's a difference between a Kobe Simmons, who played Arizona and played for the Hawks, who's over in China now, and a Chris Paul. And then there's a difference between a Lindsay Whalen, right? And another girl that I might have worked with. So, and I haven't worked with too many bad WNBA players. All my WNBA players I work with were like GOATs. So I don't.
Name a few.
Lindsay Whalen, Simone Augustus, Skylar Diggins, Brittany Griner, Odyssey Sims, Kia Nurse, Maya Moore.
So I have to ask you personally, growing up, did you ever imagine that you'd be working with these athletes? And when you're like, do you ever take a time to just sit in your life now? Or like maybe early on in your career, like, wow, I get to train some of the highest level athletes in the world?
No. I sit and try to reflect, all right, man, what did they teach me? So I can remember it to go communicate on this podcast. And then when I'm feeling down on myself and irrelevant, because you're lying to yourself if you're a human and you don't at times feel worthless. Like you're a sociopath. You're not real.
Yeah.
You're not in touch with who you, like we all feel inadequate at times. And so for me to go out and help people have no cracks in their confidence, I got to love myself. I got to empower myself, not in an arrogant way, but in a confident, convicting, charismatic way, right? And as the great prophet Deion Sanders said, if my confidence comes to you as arrogance, that's your insecurity.
Yeah.
Right? If you can't handle my truth, and my truth is real, you fear something, because the truth fears no question. And so at times, I think, how did I help him? How good was I with Kobe? What did I teach Kobe? Man, I taught him that. I remember that. Let's go. I'm the man. I'm the man. I'm the warrior. I'm a king. Let's go. Like you talk yourself into your conviction and your presence as a leader, as a point guard, like playing Warwick High School. Ferguson, you don't remember Ferguson?
No,
Rodney Shields, Stevie Artis, Wayne Lynch, like all these dudes, as you're bringing the ball up the court, the guy guarding you saying, I'm gonna bust you up in the parking lot. I'm gonna kick your ass after the game. And my boys up there, man, they're gonna beat your ass up. We're gonna jump you after the game. Like that's real. So if I didn't think, well, come on, let me see what you got. Like if you don't respond physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, fearless, without fear, now you lose. And so I had to talk myself into situations where I had to win, or at least I had to try. I just tried, so that's, I don't think about, man, I'm training, man, I'm at the Boston Celtics and Doc Rivers just offered me a job. Like the Celtics offered me a job in 2008, 2007, right before they went into their championship year, to be an assistant to their player development coach, Tyronn Lue, who's now with the Clippers. Minimal pay, entry level job, but I'm in. And so I don't sit there and, oh man, I said, man, what are they looking for? Am I good enough? I guess when I'm retired, I'll reflect.
Yeah.
But right now, I don't look at myself as a legend. I don't look at myself as, man, I just look at myself as, all right, I found the answers to my problem and I solved it. And I'm fulfilling I'm fulfilling my job as a human to be a great father, a great leader, great husband. And I'm just doing my job. And I'm trying to impact people. I try to teach them how to win. I do this. Like I know I'm winning in life. I know that. Is there things that I need to achieve? Yeah, but I'm winning.
Yeah.
I'm winning because I love who I am. I like who I am. And I go out and I know a lot of people are impacted by me. You know what I mean? And I know how to teach winning in basketball. So I teach. But if you ask me what my job is, I teach you how to win in life, teach you how to win in basketball. If it's not basketball, it's, all right, my business, home. All right, I can teach you how to win at your passion. And so I study that. I study on how to do that. So I'm moving into now corporate speaking, public speaking. I've started a nonprofit to help young males that don't have a father or role model succeed in their sport and life. But it's all based on how I view myself. And it's definitely not, oh man, this is
right. Yeah.
This is amazing. No.
And talk about what your journey was like finding your specific purpose, because that can be tough. That is tough. A lot of bumps and bruises, heartaches, heartbreaks,
ambiguity. I'm dealing with that right now with my daughter. Like, she doesn't know who she is. She's 15. She doesn't. She does know she loves horses. So it's hard. So for me, God, He is my life source. Now, you might believe in Allah, you might believe in Joseph Smith, you might believe in the stars, whatever. My higher power, my life source is God. Bible's my playbook. Jesus is my connection, my co-coach to God. The game is life. So my parents, they were atheists. They believe in God, but they don't understand the spiritual man, right? Woman. My grandparents were Catholic and Episcopalian, so they were more religious, right? So I had that as a background, but playing overseas, I was in Austria. Kevin Ollie was my roommate, and I gave my life over to the Lord over there. So ever since, I was 21 when that happened, August 1993. It was through prayer, through being open, posturing. God, what do you want me to do? God, what do you want me to do? I thought it was playing. I was going to play for like 20 years, retire, and do what you're doing. You know what I mean? Go into sports business. That didn't happen. I got cut by the Nuggets at 30. Didn't make enough money overseas. I was a Division II overseas player. Tried college coaching for 6 years. I didn't like that. And so I started the training industry, 2000. Nobody was doing it. Now you throw a rock and you got 18 dudes on this block training. Only 2 of them are good. But
yeah. Realistically.
And if somebody hears that, Ganon being salty, Ganon being an old head. No, this is the truth. Research it. But through the power of positive thinking, through the Purpose-Driven Life book by Rick Warren, through the Prayer of Jabez by Bruce Wilkerson, 3 books, Norman Vincent Peale, Power of Positive Thinking, Bruce Wilkerson, Prayer of Jabez, The Purpose-Driven Life, Rick Warren. And then, man, just me sitting on my parents' couch, because I just got back from Iceland, had a tibial tendon injury. It was surgery. I'm out 7 months. I'm like, man, I can't do nothing but sit on my couch. No internet, 3 channels on the cable TV, right? I had an email. I made a card, and I went out speaking at camps all over Hampton Roads. Put an ad in the Daily Press, basketball skill trainer, shake and bake. all because I thought that's what God wanted me to do. Everybody thought I was nuts. But you don't know business. You'll scare people, Ganon. You're too hard, man. You go right at people. Man, 25 years later, 53 countries, 6 continents, been on the court with the world's best of all time. And we are here. And I'm still fired up, right? So wrote a children's book, all that. How'd I find my purpose? Through tremendous pain of being out of my purpose.
That's real.
And then finding it through a higher power.
That's real. And I'm glad you touched on Shake and Bake because that was my next question.
Shake and Bake.
Where did that name come from?
Obviously, at the time, it was a food, product. Shake and bake chicken. You put the chicken, whatever, in the bag. You shake it and bake it. Corey Stewart gave me that. He played at Bethel, played at Virginia. He and I played for Boo on the same team during the summer. We will work out together at Lindsay Middle School. And I might have to mention, but that's when you ask me that question, that's what come to mind. Ganon Baker, Shake and Bake, because I had handles. I had a good first step, wasn't super quick, couldn't dunk, but man, I had handles, and that's where I got my respect. That's why people looked at me. It's like, I want to check him. And then when they saw me play, no, you
Change
check.
my mind.
Yeah, and nobody wanted to check me because I could break him down, and it's stupid. Man, you let that white boy beat you. I heard that all the time. And I would take what are you talking about? It's almost like, are you going to let that girl beat? What are you talking about, girl?
Exactly.
Like, I figured this out once I started training these goats. Asia, I got in high school, they ain't girls. They're athletes. Like training my Demaya Walker at Hampton University, Nadine Damone. Mm-hmm. I trained their locals here. Like they are athletes. We played one-on-one. Like I had to play hard. It was playing against an athlete. So women are athletes. Color doesn't mean anything, but it when I would break guys down off the catch, off the dribble, off the finish, I could shoot with both hands. I had a little bit of Jason Williams white chocolate in me, not as good. But I ended up getting 31 D1, D2 offers. I was second team All-State. We won the state championship. So I was a good player. That kind of shake and bake while I was point guard. I had a little swag, wasn't trying to inspire the fans, although there's nothing wrong with that. I had so much fun training, testing out my training, and then making people change their mind and their narratives about me because they always perceive me as this guy can't play because of the way I looked. And so it was a fight. And so when I left, right, when I got to the court, they're like, white boy. When I left the court, they were like, yo, Ganon Baker, shake and bake, you can play. And it all had to do with, all came down to winning. Like shake and bake wouldn't be shake and bake if we didn't win. And I didn't make my teammates better. And I didn't learn from that. You know what I mean? So nicknames are real and they stand for something. And the best thing that your parents gave you was your name. And the best thing somebody can give you is an identity. And if you're aligned with that, you got to protect that. You know what I mean? And how do you protect that? Repetition. Your repetitions determine your reputation.
I like that.
Yeah, because it's because of your reputation that I'm here, right? It's because of my reputation that I'm here. Now, once your reputation gets you in the room, it's your reality that has to show up, but you got to be real.
Yeah.
What does that mean? You got to give real physical, real mental, real emotional, real spiritual, real social, real financial, whatever you want to teach and communicate and stand for. It's got to be real. And that's hard to do in a world full of AI and superficiality.
Yeah, and that goes on to my next question. How have you adjusted your training style with the different generations of athletes?
It's hard.
Being in the game for so long, you've seen generations change drastically.
Drastically. Yeah, so I've been coaching since 1992 because my summer job was at 5-star basketball camp.
Okay.
right? So it was back then, that's where you went. That's the AAU. It's all the LeBron went there, Jordan, Lonzo Mourning, J.R. Reed, Bryant Stiff, J.J. Riddick. So from 92 now to 2024, yeah,
you seem
they've changed holistically, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, socially, now financially, because of the sports as a business, which is a good thing.
Yeah,
it's changed kids only because no one in their life is educating them, holding them accountable to, all right, what does this mean? How do you still stay focused? And the ones that are in their lives, a lot of kids make the choice not to listen because I say there's three, because of the kryptonite of what money does. So humans and athletes fail because of three things. It's in these categories: lust of the eye, lust of the flesh, pride of life. And so the financial side of it has changed, and kids need to educate themselves and have more discipline in how to handle that finances so it doesn't affect their journey, their mental health, and their game. But yeah, players have changed a lot. And if you want to dive into how, we can certainly talk about that.
Definitely. Please. You won't have to go deep into it, but I would like to know how you have had to alter your approach. Because now it's so many factors.
Yeah.
Back 92, there were no phones. There was no internet. Correct. There was no social media. There was no Instagram, TikTok.
Correct.
Versus now, it's so many different factors that go into this game. You have social media. You have NIL. You have crazy parents. You have parents that think they know the game more than you. It's so many things that go into it that you have to factor in.
So physically, players have changed where now they're coming into high school, college, and pro with more skill. They can dribble better, right? They can shoot better. Not every single one, but you see kids making shots. Maybe it's not consistent, but they have access to trainers and video. And so when you see something, right, it's called assimilation by association. The more you're around something and see something, the more you associate yourself with it. So they start to have visions and they go out and work on it and they have a proof of concept. So the kids are getting to the game a lot more skilled, but yet they've never been more ignorant on how to win and how to play the game. They don't understand the game. I go all over the world and I ask kids 10 to 15 questions. What are the 4 rules of transition defense? What are the 4 offensive options when you get the ball to the paint? What are the 3 basic cuts? What are the 5 major team offensive concepts you need to score? They don't know. They get D's or F's in basketball. So they're coming in with more talent, but they're less talented. They don't have that understanding, that education, that ED. Mentally, they've never been more soft and negative because parents and the culture of basketball, the business of basketball, enables and gives them opportunities where if they fail at Hampton, they can go play for homeschool team. They get cut by all the Boost teams, all of them. Well, they go play for somebody else. Like there's always opportunities to play, which is good. But the problems they have mentally, which is grit and the ability to respond to failure in a positive way, right? Short-term live time in the game, they make a mistake. Man, there are a lot of players, even the good ones.
Yeah.
It's a real problem. Players have to work on it. Coaches have to hold them accountable and to be a truth teller. They're lost for 3 quarters or 3 possessions. I know being around Kobe. I was like, what's your weakness? Well, man, I've mastered the game. It was like 2006. He's like, man, coach told me I got to work on shooting against triple teams and yelling at my teammates and myself. Right? That's real. That's Kobe.
Yeah.
And you see his transformation over the years of how he's been more patient, more tolerant, better leader, more graceful, positive. LeBron, the same thing. He's just, his weight and his words pierces people, right? And so it's because of the fragileness of the mentality of these kids. Because we're in a technology, TikTok generation, kids don't know how to transfer their emotions. They're not used to being honest and speaking how they feel on someone, showing their emotions in a positive way. A lot of kids show emotions, but it's not in a positive way.
Right.
They're sick because they have secrets. They don't know how to approach a person of authority. They don't know how to communicate with intelligent vocabulary. They don't understand terminology of what they're going through. So emotionally, I've had to teach that all that. So physically, I'm doing a lot more reads than reps. Robotic reps, one decision training. Now it's like teaching them how to make consecutive decisions on defense and offense, making reads.
Fundamentals.
Mentally, I'm having these kids talk to themselves. I purposely put them through hard. I go at them and then teach them mentally how to win the battle in their head. And then emotionally, I'm coaching body language. I'm coaching tone. I'm coaching how they are as a teammate. You know what I mean?
That's huge.
And then spiritually, I share my faith. I'm like, regardless of your performance, it doesn't define you as a person, because that's where, when you say, what's the benefit of faith outside of going to heaven? Hey, on earth, you're not defined by this world. You're not defined by what you do. You're not defined, your self-worth is not defined on your performance. It's called performance-based love. I had it. My dad was in a bad mood if I played bad, even if I just fought. I mean, it is what it is. I tell him that now. I love you, Pop. But I could tell when I played bad and I did my bit, it hurt him. I'm like, what? I'm not good enough because I don't, And honestly, they want me to transfer to Ham Christian or Bethel my junior year, because by December I wasn't playing. I was playing a quarter. And it wasn't until Rick Hunter hit Paul Blackman, busted his eye out for a couple months, that I got in the starting lineup. And even that night, they brought Jermaine Golson up from the JV to start at Norview. And I'm told Art Jones on the bench, like, I'm out, man. It's bullshit. I'm out. And Art said, wait, man, your time, Jermaine's not ready. Second quarter, they put me in because Jermaine had like 3 or 4 turnovers. And the rest is history. We won the state. Boom, boom, boom. So got all these scholarships and played professionally in Austria, France, Iceland, Denver Nugget tryout. I fulfilled, but it wasn't until I learned how to fight. And God had another purpose for me. And I finally found God. Oh, okay, God, you were always with me. And so a lot of these kids, even pros, if they don't do well, if the world doesn't love them for what they do, they go into a dark depression and a dungeon of despair. And I have to teach these kids, about purpose, about grace, how to handle their stress, how to love themselves, how to honor their higher power. And you can do that through basketball or a microphone. Socially, they don't know how to talk to you off the court. They don't know how to talk to you in the car. So it's basically put the phone down. We're gonna talk. What are you grateful for today? What's your biggest challenge? Who's your best friend? How'd you meet her? It's just being human.
Yeah.
Like you and I were when we came in. We started connecting because there was ham high. Oh, there's life's small. It's a circle.
Yeah.
But you're human. I'm human. My playbook says we're brothers and sisters. I ain't got to spend a lot of time with you, but I can love you. Exactly. I ain't got to trust you, but I can honor you. And it's teaching them that socially. And then every now and then, financially, if it happens, we'll talk about that. Especially with the NIL players and a lot of the pros. I didn't know this until I started training WNBA, NBA players and being in that environment. One of their life coaches gave me a stat. Tony Gaskins wrote a book from Tampa, good guy. He said, man, 70% of NBA, WNBA players are in 5 of these categories within 4 to 5 years of their retirement. So within 4 to 5 years of retirement, these basketball players, 70% of them are broke and or depressed and or divorced or have dysfunctional family problems. Mm-hmm. Constant trouble with the law, don't know what they're going to do for the next 30, 40 years. They don't have a career outside of basketball. And I'm not going to name drop players, but there's some players that I have worked out that they went into ESPN because they were broke. They started basketball skill training because 3 of their restaurants that they opened with their family went bankrupt. Players that I've worked out intelligent, educated, have a degree, but they didn't think about winning in life. All right, this is temporary. What can I do now to affect my future self? I always talk about that. Well, like what you do now, the present is a present. It's a gift. Because if you maximize it, it affects your future self in the right way. A lot of stuff you and I grew up with as kids, we had to reverse engineer, some traumatic events happened to me at a young age that wasn't my fault, but it still affected me with my relationships with some, right? And you just got to work on your future self. And so financially, we dive into that every now and then. That's a huge, that's a whole year podcast.
It is.
Right?
Maybe 2 or 3.
Yeah, of the holistic athlete 30 years ago to now.
But that is a huge part. Like you said, you spoke on traumas growing up that affect your play, they affect your personality, they affect how you grow, what you do. They're a huge factor of a lot of things. And a lot of us don't even realize that they're inflicting our current actions. You said you went through a few traumas. If you could just name 1 or 2 that inflicted your lifestyle now. I mean, now that you've healed from it, but that takes a lot of grit work. Yeah.
I would say something that happened early on with me and a coach affected my relationship with women later on. So in a negative way. In a positive way, I realized the power of a coach. He is like a shepherd. A true coach will lay down his life for his flock. A true coach will protect his flock and keep them safe so that eventually, right, that flock can go on and to be a shepherd, so to speak. So, I've always coached thinking, all right, how do I keep my students safe? Number 1, physically, I'm going to be in the best shape of my life, because when you demonstrate as a coach or a teacher, it's the highest form of learning, because you can't coach what you don't have. You can't give away what you don't possess. And so a lot of my, teaching now, and it was back then, but there's 2 things that I'm trying to get these kids to do: be tough and be intelligent. Like toughness and intelligence. You have those 2, you're going to go places. You're going to win. And so, physically, I go at them. I run with them. I push them so they don't have any excuses. It's almost like a competitive thing. Like, man, my coach is doing it, I got to do it. And at 52, and if I'm running sprints with you and I'm almost beating you and I'm doing 2-ball dribbling and you got to work hard to score on me. Like, I had Marcus Godwin, who's here. He was, we trained this summer. He's trying to go back overseas, a skill trainer. Like, we played 1-on-1, 2 or 3 games. Like, he beat me. But man, he was breathing hard.
He had to work hard for that.
He couldn't stop me at times. He had to work hard. And he's 24.
Yeah.
And I'm 52. And so at the end of the game, he's like, I'm like, boy, why ain't you in shape? I ain't breathing hard. The truth fears, and he had no question. The truth fears no. So physically, to keep my guys safe, man, I'm going to work hard for you. Mentally, there's no question that I don't have an answer for. And I got multiple answers now that I'm Yoda and I'm an OG.
Yeah.
And I don't say that arrogantly. I'm just saying I take pride in, hey, you got a question? I got your answers. If not, and very rarely, hey, I know where to find it. Like, that's my job as a shepherd. I don't care whether you're volunteering or it's your profession. Yo, you change lives. You touch eternity through these kids as a leader. I don't care if you're talking to the janitor. Like, you give them the same passion and love and concern as you do your CEO, if you're the owner. So, like, our performance as a coach doesn't trump the people. The people are always greater than the performance of a coach. It's not about me. But I try to make me as great as I can, a shepherd, a warrior, a Thor, a Black Panther, a Iron Man for my players, because I want them to be great. I want them to win. I want them to achieve their goal. And all of them want to win. All of them want to feel significant.
Yeah.
Right? And all of them want to be independently valuable, whether it's opportunities, treasures, money. No problem. I got you. So that's why I try to be an authentic leader. You know, I make six figures. I have valuable resources. I'm still in shape. I still have wisdom. Yeah, I mean, it wakes me up every morning, right? Because you know this, when you're around the great ones, you got no room for error. They call you out, and they may never call you back up, right?
Yeah.
They recognize when you're BSing or you're wrong, but you better be right. You better be tight.
You got to be.
Right? And for the young kids, they're at the height of their ignorance. Young people, 25 and under, they're at the height of, you know what I mean? It's not their fault. They're ignorant at times, they're insecure, they're inconsistent. So they might not know if you're bullshitting them or you're lying to them because they're impressionable, right? That's the fourth eye. They're ignorant. They're at the height of their inconsistency. They're insecure, but they're impressionable, man. If you have the right voice, if you lock in and plant seeds of greatness in them, man, that fruit is going to blossom in their life. Maybe sooner than later. And then they see that learning, that growth, it's addictive. Now you got to buy in. Now you connected. Let's go. Now they go on and pay it forward. So, you know, we brought up Marcus. For me to train Marcus like that changed his life. And he texts me that all the time.
He speaks highly of you.
Yeah, that week, man, coach, that changed my life. I know it's my job.
Right.
You made me better. I gotta go work out. You know what I mean? But at some point, physically, you can, right, use that weapon. So it has to be something else. But I'm gonna use the physical part of me as a leader as long as I can.
For sure. That's respectable, especially as a former student athlete. A lot of athletes, we have coaches that tell us to do something they can't do themselves.
Not anymore, right? Yeah.
But the game of basketball changing on a daily, evolving quickly, and being in the game for so long, where do you see the game going?
It's only going to get bigger. It's going to be more popular across the world. The private sector, everything from sports marketing to travel clubs to, you know, individual organizations that do training are only going to get bigger and more popular. Where I like to see it go is there be legislation and education on how to do it the right way. You see, basketball grassroots is a no barrier entry. Anybody can do it. And then now, you know, money influences so many things. Lobbyists, you know, on Capitol Hill, ex-NBA players with a lot of passion and paychecks start overtime. And that has influenced my kids, my two boys, they buy all their gear. And I'm like, so this is real. I've had the Ellis's contact me about some training, you know, some high-level guys that end up going there. Right. So it's interesting how it's people have learned how to monetize it. So it's a business. No problem. What I'm trying to do is on platforms like this and with my weight and influence is, all right, well, let's legislate it. Let's educate people on how to do it right and how to sustain it in a positive way. I think there'll be more media exposure, particularly in high school. I think at some point in time, whether it be my lifetime or my kids' lifetime, there will be no more the NCAA, right? They'll disperse.
I agree with that. Yeah.
You know, I think the NBA, it's already talks the NBA will create a league in Europe. And so there will be NBA America, NBA Europe. So there'll be more NBA teams.
Yeah.
And there'll be more opportunities for players all over the world to play in the best league in the world. And then slowly after that, the WNBA will follow a lot quicker than it happened over in North America. Because as you see, not to cut you off, but look at the women's game now. Like
that happened overnight.
It happened overnight, but it started in 1996, I believe.
Long time, yes.
Yeah. But because of
media,
the stacking, the compounding, all the work, Nancy Lieberman and Dawn Staley and Teresa Weatherspoon and Ruthie Bolton Holyfield. Like I've had a chance to coach with a lot of WNBA coaches. Nancy Lieberman's a friend. Teresa Weatherspoon is a friend. And because of their work, you got Caitlin Clark, Sabrina, the whole ACES organization now is amazing. But okay, now there's revenue, right? And so the WNBA will follow the NBA quickly, and basketball will probably be the number one sport in the world. I think right now it's still soccer.
Yeah.
I think the number one sport in America is football, but basketball will be a monopoly.
And speaking of international, you've had the opportunity to train internationally as well, right?
Yeah.
Talk about the differences.
Obedience, education. That's their focus, right? American kids get into the byproducts of basketball first. They love that first. They that's what they're motivated by, right? Europe is focused on the product, right? The other stuff, it's an accessory. It's cool, but they just want to hoop, and they want to win, and they want to celebrate after in the communities with each other, right? We want to get the byproducts first, celebrate with the community. Oh, hey, we got to go practice.
Yeah.
So the attitude of learning is different. It's easier to coach in Europe. It's easier to get a buy-in. It's easier to connect. On the court, intelligence is respected. Like they are intelligent, right? They are taught by grassroots coaches the right way because those coaches have to take a test. You can't just show up and coach. You got to go through learning. You got to go through mentoring. We, on the other hand, were second team all district in high school, and now we think we can go coach college kids and run a AAU team, and which is cool. But a lot of our grassroots coaches don't want training in how to talk to referees, how to talk to parents. Like they don't understand. Like parents are your asset. Referees are your asset. They're human. Learn how to talk to them.
Right.
Learn how to motivate them.
Right.
They don't understand that communication and terminology sets your culture. They don't understand how to build culture, right? They got all these kids transferring because you don't know how to confront and connect with them. Let me coach them. I guarantee they won't transfer as much as they transfer you because you don't teach them. You don't learn. You don't invest in yourself as a coach. Right? You're not clear. You're not competent. You don't have a presence. You're telling the kids to work hard and you're a slob. Again, not to be, but you got to get in better shape. You got to be emotionally in shape. How's your IQ? You want your kids to win a championship. You don't have championship conversation.
All of that matters.
You don't prepare.
Yeah.
You don't open up the gym for your kids. You're not pouring yourself into them, and you're not exhausted after practice. And so it's European coaches are, and they don't get paid half as much. But some of the best European grassroots coaches could coach in the NBA or WNBA in America.
I believe that.
It's a beautiful thing. I love going overseas. I'm honored. I'm humbled. This summer, I'm going to Greece, Turkey, France, United Kingdom. I mean, it's a beautiful thing because, I'm over there teaching, but man, they teach me so much. I mean? It's like a sabbatical that they pay me for,
It is very humbling. We had an opportunity to go to New Zealand early this year.
Awesome.
At a women's basketball camp that was hosted by a WNBA coach at the time. But for me, it was very humbling because, these kids are trying to get to where I've already been. And they just, for me having the love of the game sucked out of me at an early age.
Yeah.
These kids are even dying for the opportunity to get the love sucked out of them, and they're just so willing to grasp in like ASAP. Like even down to, I was telling people like, I didn't see any form of diva. Like over here talking to girls doing ball handling. I know I probably was one of them. I didn't feel like doing ball handling because I was supposed to, I didn't want to do it. These girls are just grasping in and there's no look on their face. They're just, doing what they tell them to do. And it's a big difference from, international sports versus American sports because we're spoiled over here. We get everything for nothing. Whether you're good or not, you still get the good gear. You still get the opportunity sometimes. And you still even get the opportunity to go play collegiately versus they're trying to just get the opportunity to be seen by a coach. And for me, that was a huge eye-opener because I've always had aspirations of one of my biggest career goals was to inspire sports internationally. Because I know it's sport culture all over the world and I know they need everything that I have to offer. And I know that they are willing to grasp in and to be thankful for it versus you got to work a little harder on this side. I'm sure you've seen that as well.
Yeah. I mean, they don't take things for granted.
At all.
After the workout, thank you. They ask you follow-up questions. Coach, can you send me a video? Can you send me your notes?
Yeah.
Over here after workouts, Coach, can we take a selfie? Can you follow me?
Yeah.
You know what I say? I'm like, yeah, we'll take a selfie, but that's not as important as the notes that you should be asking me for. And plus, I'm only going to follow you if you can teach me something. That's what I tell people. Follow me, Coach, only if you're going to teach. So I look at their page and it's all narcissistic. Yeah. All these, and again, it's not their fault. It's the culture of social media. I mean, obviously, as a business owner, I'm self-promoting, but it's like I tell kids, look, unless you run a business, throw your phone in the ocean. Like, why do you need a phone? Excuse me. Why do you need a social media account? Yeah, flip phone for your parents and all that safety. But your iPhone shouldn't have any social media on it because all it is a distraction. Well, I got to promote, market. No. No, you don't. That's what your AAU team's for. That's what you're booing. If you can play, they'll find out. In today's information world, there's enough video out there that somebody gets you on video, they'll find you. Even if you have a flip phone.
Easy.
Yeah, they'll find you. So it's a very genuine, humbling, obedience-like culture over there. I always tell kids, if you want freedom, right, to do what you want, be where you want to be, opportunities, you got to be obedient. Obedience equals freedom. And they're some of the most obedient kids, right? If they're soft and you say, you got to play hard, they'll do that. If you say, hey, we got to ASAP, like right away, there's no repeating in Europe unless it's a language barrier.
Yeah.
Right? They get to the gym early. They do their warm-ups. Most of them are sweating before you start the workout.
As it should be.
Like they take advantage of, they're educated. They're professional. Right. I'm talking about like, I'm not, 8, 9, 10, 11, but like 12 and up, you could see who the trained ones are, right? And my friend D Brown, who played at the Celtics and Reebok guy, his daughter, Lexi Brown, played at Duke. I trained her, plays for the Sparks. He said, you got players that are trained and you got players that are untrained. You got coaches that teach and you got coaches that just yell. And that's the difference between Europe and America is that they teach, they train.
Right.
They get A's in basketball for the most part.
Yeah, for the most part.
I mean, think about this. Think about our best players in the world this summer in France. Mm-hmm. Right? Girls and boys had to win the game at the wire. A lot had to do with the rules of FIBA, but still, like that's how close the gap is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so our best of the best still have to do their best and still only win by 2 or 3. Could you imagine the grassroots? Like there's so many jobs that European coaches and European players are taking from us Americans because they're not disciplined. They're not obedient. They get into the culture of play every day and don't learn from your playing and play meaningless games and get around voices where you can get impressed upon the right way to play and the right way to act and how to get it, how to get along with a teammate. And so it's, it is what it is. You're going to learn the hard way. You're going to learn from either your pain or a coach's experience. I'd rather learn from a coach's experience. I wouldn't want to learn from my pain unless I had to.
Exactly. What would you say the biggest downfall in today's student athletes are?
I think we've covered it. But number one, they define their purpose through their performance. Therefore, they don't achieve their goals and they get depressed and it affects the rest, some of their life. Mm-hmm. Or when they finish their Hall of Fame career, they don't understand the next season of their life. And number two, they, how can I say this? They don't understand how important it is to get around a great mentor or leader. Mm-hmm. They can't handle the pain. Their pain is greater than their passion. A lot of it has to do with their enabling posse. Could be their grandma, their parents. In their defense, a lot of their AAU coaches, especially the good players, don't tell them the truth and keep them feeling comfortable. And when they, at some point in their career, when they face chaos, they don't have any holistic weapons to fight. And so those are the two things, again, comes back to coaches, come back to shepherds, come back to leaders. And if I'm wrong, anybody listening to the sound of my voice, please message me. But it's the players really haven't changed. Culture, technology has. It's the coaches that don't work to make themselves educated mentors because it's hard to develop. It takes time to read, take notes, educate yourself. It's hard to work out and become a holistic leader. And so coaches, because of their laziness, arrogance, lack of passion to develop, it affects these kids. And they jump ship. They don't know how to respond to adversity. Yeah. And so what our culture has done is thrown the money at the great ones and think that will motivate them. But it's not. The NIL, that's another thing we forgot to talk about is
I was about to ask.
NIL is broken. So that's going to change within the next few years because basically they don't run, the NCAA doesn't run a business like the NBA. It's basically you're a free agent every year. And there's no multi-year contract. Like what they should do is, all right, you're going to get $300,000, but you got to stay at that school for 3 years. It's a rookie contract. All right, you make $8 million, 3 years with this team. Right? They can cut you, and you still get your 3 year, or they can trade you, or your contract runs out. They don't re-sign you. With NIL, it's like you jump ship every year.
It's a mess.
You're not teaching anybody anything. The product is bad. Product is bad. So that's why you see a kid, number one kid in the country, go to BYU. And you can talk about, he went to BYU because they paid him the most. He could be the man. He could be the most popular dude in Utah. Okay.
It's crazy.
All right, go to Utah. You got to stay 2 years. Or go to the NBA or go overseas. But there has to be, I never forgot, man. Like I asked LeBron one time at a workout, young LeBron, Cleveland first contract, first year in Cleveland, LeBron, 24, 25. I was like, man, I train a lot of people. How do I get them to be great? You're great. You're going to be greater. He said, man, once you get the answers to the test, I'm paraphrasing, but he's like, man, once you figure it out, he's like, man, tell them to do it every day. He's like, greatness can only be great if it's consistent. He said, greatness is consistency. And so it has to be consistency in any structure that we put,
For sure. And if you finally, I always ask my guests on the podcast, it's a sport exposure moment. If you're talking to a student athlete current right now, What is it about a sports or the sport industry that you want to expose to them, or that you wish somebody would have told you?
I'm sure they did. I didn't hear it until later on in life. Pour everything you got into that sport and make sure you learn how to be a winner. You don't have to win, but if you act like a winner, winning changes your life. It changes your relationships, changes yourself, how you view yourself, your self-esteem. It changes your community. In my community, I didn't know it's the world. But all I was trying to do is, man, I want to help people in Hampton Road, 757. And 757 turned into 6 continents. So whatever your community is, learn how to act like a winner. Learn how to teach that. Like, dive into that. Like, whatever sport you play, it's about winning. It's about the process of trying to win. Because you're going to lose, but you still can win when you lose. You still can act and have those winning values and mindsets. Because like Deion said, man, life keeps a receipt. Life has a scoreboard. My faith. If I lose, I'm going to hell. If I win, I'm going to heaven. Well, how do you know, man? I bet on that, because if I'm wrong, I'm going to hell anyway. So I'm winning because I know my why. I'm clear.
Yeah.
I know my why every single day. I know when I mess up. I know what to do when I mess up. I got that choice, and I know how to rise up. I got that choice. And so it's clarity on, do you know how to win? Go do that. Then it gives more meaning behind the push-ups, behind the batting reps, behind the cheerleading stretches, behind the football hits, like all the stuff you do that sucks.
Yeah.
Gives it more meaning, and you fall in love with the process. You do that enough, you're going to win. But that's what I'm going to talk to the Hampton High team tonight about. Like, y'all mother suckers know how to win? Yeah. How do you know? Tell me 2 things you need to do to win. All I'm going to say, what? Work hard.
Yeah.
Man, losers work hard. Wrong. Do it right. Winners work hard, but they do it right. What's the second thing? Be tough. Yeah. Well, how do you do that? I don't know. Find the love in failure. Look at failing as winning. Look at mistakes as education. Don't define yourself and make losing part of your kryptonite. Like, respond. And then they'll say, be a good teammate. Yeah? What does that mean? Talk and touch. Constantly talk and touch. Right? Celebrate, communicate, direct, correct. Dude smoking weed in the locker room after the game. You tough enough to go grab that shit? Right? I did when we got in a fight, but we won this championship. So it's
accountability. Yeah.
Kobe talks about 4 Ds when I was around him. He said, I want people to define stuff for me. Yeah, if I'm going to follow you better define what you're talking about. Number 2, you better go into detail. You better not be some dumbass. Number 3, I'm going to go deep. I'm going to take what you give me. I'm going to go deep. Right? I'm going to go, it's another level. And then I'm going to take those 3 Ds and go live it. You write it on your Instagram. I'm going to go live that shit. Discipline. Definition, detail, deep. And that's another way to win. He's a winner. It's mindset. You want your body to get somewhere, your mind got to get there first. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what I'm doing more of now than 30 years ago. If we went full circle to the beginning of the interview, I'm teaching everybody now more so. I'm educating myself more so on how to connect with their mind, get their mind right.
That's powerful, yeah.
Because Boo Williams, Lonzo Mourning said, if you get your mind right, your body will follow.
It's a golden rule.
Drop the mic on that.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
I could stay here all week.
I appreciate you sharing your story. You're an amazing leader. Thank you so much.
Communicator, orator.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I hope there's a student athlete out there that was inspired by your story. Did I create a safe space for you?
What was that?
Did I create a safe space for you?
I felt real comfortable. Like, you're my younger sister I never had.
Good.
Yeah.
We locked in. We family now.
Can't crush a crab, baby. Can't crush the crab. You fight, rip and roar.
There you go. But thank you so much. We'll catch you on the next one.
Yes, ma'am.